Tuesdays, we do buyer side discussions in our huddle. And I am in the Real Estate Bible this week, okay? Who does not have one of these ninja selling books? Okay, so let me ask the question a different way. Who has not read one of these ninja selling books?
I'm in process.
Okay. So I'm just going to randomly open it. Okay, so like there is a little less than 300 pages in the book. Here's two of them. Okay? That's a title page. There's one word. Okay? And this is a page. It's one paragraph. Okay? It's okay. It won't hurt. You can read this book, I promise you. Okay. There's so many good concepts in here, but if we're talking about buyer side strategies, the one that jumped out to me today, and what I want to really encourage you is on your buyer side transaction that you go to page 226. It's called Appendix A, and it gives you a 10-step buyer process. And it's really good. It's exactly right. And it's going to give you step by step what we typically call capture and conversion process. Taking a lead, and a buyer lead, one of these crappy internet buyer leads that everybody goes, oh, this is just a bunch of junk. Yeah, it is a bunch of junk. And your expectation should be that you are panning for gold. That you're going to sift through a lot of stuff to figure out who you can actually help. Does that make sense? So many of us think that there's an obsession in our industry right now about leads. And I don't quite get why. I think we've lost the focus of what we're trying to do. I'm not in the business of leads. Leads are inquiries. They're just a bunch of junk. You guys buy everything you look at online? You know, they say that over 75% of all shopping carts online are abandoned. Just let's do a little micro survey here. Who in the room has ever been shopping for anything online, clicked and put it in your shopping cart, but didn't buy it? Anybody? That's 100% in the room. Okay, that's what, right there. You're an internet buyer lead. Carl's not in here right now. Yak ran an ad. Y'all hear about this? Funny, I have to tell it again. Yak runs a targeted Facebook ad last week for our Instant Offers program. And the ad said something like what you say when you're doing this. Hey, curious of what these iBuyers would give for your home? Well, we have that program. Just click here, give me your information, and we'll generate an instant offer for you on your home. No cost, no obligation. Right? Why is he doing that?
Get contact information. Get it sold.
Yeah, because people that click on that are leads. They might be thinking about, okay, no. What did he just ask for?
Name, rank, and serial number.
Yeah, if you want a free offer on your home, no cost, no obligation, click here. So we do a program with our iBuyer program, and I'm thinking, well, only 4% are going to take the offer. So what do I want? What do we want? We want the 96%. No, we don't. It took a week, and we're like, no more of that. Why? Yak runs the ad. Carl's wife, Sarah, is at home. She's on Facebook. She sees this offer on your home, no cost, no obligation. She goes, yeah, sure, tell me what you'd give me for our house. Click, fills out her name, her address, and phone number. What is she now to Yak?
Prospect.
Huh?
Prospect.
Yeah, she's a lead. And our industry is obsessed with lead generation. Sarah is now, Yock doesn't know who she is. Sarah Phillips doesn't ring a bell with him. Right. She's a seller lead. So he does what a good agent does. Puts her in her CRM, sets her on a constant contact campaign, starts following up with her, right? And Carl goes home one night and Sarah says, "Hey, will you get this dude at your real estate office to quit contacting me? Come on in." "Oh no, you're here now. You got to come on in." You too good for us? She's a lead. So Carl comes in the next day. "Hey, Yock, why do you keep calling my wife?" He's like, "I'm not calling your wife." "Who's your wife?" "Sarah Phillips." Yock goes into a CR. "Oh, no, she's a lead. She filled out a thing." Carl goes home and goes, "Why'd you fill out the thing online?" Sarah goes, "'Cause they said they'd give us a free offer on our home. I was just curious." And we, as an industry, are shocked when the leads suck. Of course the leads suck. Of course most of them. Zillow will brag that they generate 1 billion leads a year. There's only 5 million transactions in the United States. There's 200 leads for every 1 transaction? Yes, there is. So our job becomes, you're panning for gold. Everything that's in there isn't a gold nugget. You've got to figure out what is and what's not. What Larry gives you, starting on page 226, Appendix A, is a process to maximize your effort. If you're going to do this, if you're going to play in this space, realize that there's strategy and skill involved in it. That is a shocking statement to our industry. No, you don't know me. I got into real estate because I'm so charming. Everybody loves me. Everybody thinks I'm cute and adorable. Everybody around me says, "Oh, honey, Tina, you should sell real estate. You're so cute. You just make a fortune. You're so adorable." And every single one of you had somebody in your life say that to you. "Oh, you do great in real estate. You're a great people person." Hey, it helps, but that ain't the deciding factor. Your mommy thinks you're that cute. Maybe not as cute as your mommy thinks you are. Okay? And by the way, you weren't born with the innate skills to do good in this space. And there are skills, and you have to acquire the skills and have a strategy. And this is why capture and conversion rates in U.S. real estate are 1% or lower. And everybody that tells me that they've got a double-digit capture rate is a lying dog. They're just redefining what they call a lead. Well, we turn 20% of our leads into home buyers. Yeah, well, what do you call a lead? People that are writing a contract. Right. They call everything else, they call what we would call a lead, they call them something else. They've come up with their own name. Well, those are just inquiries. No. Everybody that made some kind of inquiry, how many of those do you turn into a closing? 1%. You want to know an interesting statistic? NAR says, and it's pretty much always been this way, guess what percentage of the U.S. population buys the house they call on? 1%. Do you think there's any correlation there? I do. I think that because we don't realize the skill and the strategy that's needed to maximize these opportunities for whatever it can be, we are only selling homes to people that were going to buy the house anyhow. That 1%. I don't think we're doing as an industry what we really need to be doing, which is to go, so Jay, yeah, sure, I can help you and give you information about this house, but tell me more about what you're hoping to find. And let me learn more about you, because I know statistically 99% of the time you're not going to buy this house. That's not the point. That's not why I'm doing this. The overwhelming percentage of the time, you're going to buy a house sometime in the days, and I need to figure out how to pivot with you and transition with you and hang in there with you in a way that still works for me during that entire process. And folks, that's really hard. And that takes skill and it takes a strategy. And if you don't think it does, get ready to not make any money at this. And that's why so many people, so many real estate agents are mad at Zillow, because they're spending money on Zillow, but they're not selling and closing any homes. And I say, yeah, maybe the leads suck, maybe, or maybe salespeople are unskilled and weak. And what happens if both those things are true? Yeah, then you're going to have a capture and conversion rate of well under 1% when both things are true. So what Larry's saying to you here, starting on page 226, is here's a 10-step process. I'm going to give you the strategy. Follow the damn strategy. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole 10-step process. I want to touch on a couple of things that I thought were really important. Most people, if they read this, most people won't take the time to read it, and it's not on book, on CD, it's not recorded, so you have to actually read the book. Most people won't. I've read it about 8 times now. But a couple of things that jumped out. When you read it, if you read it, they're gonna come to parts and you're gonna think, that's so simple and basic that I don't need to pay attention to that. When you think that, that's when you really need to stop, because some of the basics we're not paying attention to. And they're called basics, they're called foundations, because everything builds off of that. And if you get that wrong, it's all going to fall down on you. So one of the first parts he talks about is using a 3-step greeting process. And to this point, because I'm just going to hit the highlights here, your goal in the first 2 minutes is to connect and take control of the process. Now let me say that again with the correct emphasis. Your goal in the first 2 minutes is to connect with them and take control of the process, because you are the professional and they are the amateur. They don't know. To take control of the process and not allow them to do it. So my analogy to this is walking my dog. And I was thinking about this the other morning when I was walking her. She's doing this, and I'm actually letting the dog lead me. And the dog keeps walking in front of me and stopping and looking up at me. And then it occurred to me, I'm the human, she's the dog. Maybe I should be walking her instead of her walking me. Make sense? The dog's looking at me and going, I don't know where you want to go. So if I'm going to go first, then I'm confused, I'm bewildered, and I'm going to keep looking up at you to see if I'm doing something wrong. I should be walking the dog, shouldn't I? You should be walking them. They don't know. If you are assertive and professional and he gives you the ways to do this, they'll follow you and they'll appreciate it. Like, oh damn, you know what you're doing. Well, that's a change of pace. Make sense? If you're, step 2 in the meeting, if you're meeting the buyers at the property, get there early. Like, dude, you did watch this. I told Brandon yesterday, I was like, you did good with your open house this weekend. How did I know Brandon was doing an open house this weekend? Because I was out driving around Sunday, going to church, coming home, running some errands, that kind of stuff. His damn directionals were all over the place. I told Jane, I was like, good for him. How many did you actually put out?
Like 6 or 8.
6 or 8. I said, man, your directionals were blanketed Alpharetta. He's like, yeah, I put out like 6. My impression was they were all over the place, right? Now, contrast this with, I live in a 40-home neighborhood. 2 of them are up for sale right now. By the way, we wouldn't have had the problem now that we had in the spring. 2 open houses this Sunday. Again, I told the story last week because they've done it 2 weekends in a row now. His directionals, I think, are blanketing Alpharetta. Gated neighborhood. You can't see in the neighborhood from Kimball Bridge Road, the main drive that goes by. You cannot. 2 open houses inside the neighborhood, no directionals at all. How's anybody supposed to know? They can't see in. They couldn't get in if they wanted to. That's so dumb, it hurts my brain. Can you imagine? You do an open house behind a gated fence. Nobody can see it. Nobody came to either open house. Why? Nobody even knew they were doing it. Okay. Take control of the process. In the meeting, prepare the house, turn the lights on. When you see the buyers arrive, walk out of the house and greet them out on the front walkway. Don't make them come all the way up to the door. It's creepy for them. It's uncomfortable. You're the pro. Walk out, extend your hand, meet them out on the front walkway. Should we have to be telling people this? Yes.
I actually did that.
Okay.
I had a guy that was a veteran, and he was telling me how he was going to work with all these different agents, and was the best agent winning. So I was like, I went out there and I met him, and I did exactly what he told me to do. Get there early, cut the lights on, meet him out in the driveway, walk them in, all of the steps. He ended up working with me. That was it. There was no more talk about anybody else after that first point.
So here's what everybody else does. Okay, now this just sounds like common sense and we shouldn't have to be talking about this, but apparently we do, because the average agent is just going to wait inside the house for them. First of all, that's poor safety practice. Okay, you don't want to be in front of them in a house. You're trapped. You don't know who this is. You want to meet them out on the front walkway. My wife's a runner. I tell her this all the time so that she never forgets. If somebody tries to abduct you while you're out running, make them kill you. A little gruesome. But in the moment of action, when you're panicked and you have to make split-second decisions, I want that thought I say this to her all the time, and she hates it when I do it. If anybody ever tries to grab you, you make them kill you right there on the side of the road where everybody can see it. They won't. Don't be a victim. Don't let them put you in that car. You fight to the death right there. Okay? Don't you be inside that house first. Meet them out on the sidewalk, and if you don't get a good vibe about them, don't go inside the house. Don't show it to them. Say, I'm sorry, I feel uncomfortable. The house isn't available to be shown right now. Don't walk into a house with the creepo. Okay? Larry talks about some foundational questions. I'm just going to give you a couple here. These are really important. This is how we should be talking to our home buyers prospects. Where are you living? And then be quiet. Ask the question, be quiet, let them answer it. Okay? About how many homes have you owned in the past? You're trying to get a feel for in the process. When you purchased your current home, What was the process for that? Did they do it themselves? Did they have an agent? Did they like the agent? Did the agent do a good job for them? Did they do a bad job? Were they frustrated by it? What was your experience like? Are you familiar with how real estate works here? Hey, if they've come from California, anybody here ever from California? It completely, Florida? Anybody here from Florida? Hey, they don't use closing attorneys in Florida. What do they use?
Title.
Right. We don't even know what that is. Escrow companies. Opinion, it's a far superior process. But guess who makes up 98% of the state legislature in Georgia? Attorneys. So it will always be an attorney that has to, there's no reason why an attorney has to close a real estate transaction other than our state legislator made it a law. It's not a law in Florida. Florida, you have escrow companies, title companies, and they put the whole thing, you don't have to all be in the same room at the same time. No. They're like, what, all of you have to get in the same room at the same time in Georgia? You don't have to, but it's common practice. Why? Because we're a bunch of yahoos that just got plumbing and electricity last month. That's why. No, the attorneys control the... Are you familiar with how real estate works here in Georgia? And the main thing I wanted to show you this morning is, if you haven't read this book, read the book. Greg, you're familiar with it.
Very much so.
What's your opinion?
Oh, it changed a lot of things in the way that I personally do business and the way I taught people back in the late 90s, early 2000s when I first heard of it.
So you know they have ninja selling for mortgages now.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh, they've had it out for almost 20 years.
Here's what you won't find in here. Go get on the phone and cold call people for 2 hours and say, hey, Brandon, if you felt like you could make more money in less time by listing your house with me today, would you be prepared? Would you?
No.
That's not in this book. Okay? There's no door knocking in this book. There's no hard sale. This book is if you want to work with sphere of influence and referrals, a community-based real estate agent's business. How you do that. The underlying fundamental concept is getting in the flow with people. Okay? How do you get in the flow with people? It's all right here in the book. He'll lay out. How do you show homes? Like, what do you say? How do you say it? It's all right there. If you've read it before, reread it again. I've read it 8 times. Every time I read it, there's something new in there. I know Larry personally, smart dude. He gets it. No fluff, no hype. They're not going to tell you to take out billboards, radio or TV. They're not going to do that. They're not going to tell you to spend a lot of money on direct mail. They're not going to say that you have to spend a fortune on Facebook targeted ads. They're going to say you have to get in the flow with humans. Interact with humans and be an authentic person on purpose. Like, have a plan. When you go to show a house, actually have a pre-planned strategy for how you're going to do it. When you talk to a lead on the phone, have a pre-planned way of handling the call. What questions do you ask? How do you ask them? In what order? This is what pros do. Why? Not that every lead you... That's crazy talk. The goal is to maximize your opportunities so that you don't just sell 1% to the people who are going to buy the house anyhow. That deal everybody gets once a year, like, that was too easy. I wish they could all be like that. Yeah, they won't all be like that. A lot of them, most of them, almost all of them are going to require skill. And I don't care how old you are, how long you've been in the business. It doesn't hurt to brush up on your fundamental skills. Questions? No? Everybody feel like they're going to master this? Uh-huh.
I want to add to it, there's a part in there about a buyer's presentation, what to bring.
Mm-hmm.
I got a call random calls. And I went out and met them at the house, and I brought that stuff with them. And they was like, wow, nobody's ever did this before. And so it stood out. So yeah, it's great.
The package overly complex?
No, just the contract, the house, like a CMA, so they know what the houses are selling for, so they can see that these are the houses that are currently on the market. You know, stuff that,
Some information about the schools that serve that house?
you can, but it just said, bring about, what's around the house, how long houses are staying on the market, what they're selling for, just in case they want to make an offer.
Right. What's the average agent do? Nothing. They just show up and unlock the door. And then, because they're not prepared, they don't have a strategy, they start trying to relationship sell. And this is, this real estate agent. Just talk, and they don't shut up and they don't breathe, and they're just going, because it's all they've got now. They've got to become your new best friend forever. In the next 5 seconds. I've got to overwhelm you with my personality because I didn't prepare. I don't have anything else. You just have to go, Sam, I just love Sam. So this is what you're hoping happens when they get in the car after the show. Well, I don't like that house, but I love her. Isn't she so cute? She's just delightful. Hey, you might be, probably not, but man, that's a lot of pressure. To be that good, that on the spot, all the time, I don't want to have to be that good. Have a pre-planned process and system. Sam.
I've read this a while ago and I really liked it, but the truth is I know until I actually practice it, or I won't really probably implement it, or if I do, it won't be that well. So I was wondering if anybody wanted to practice at some point, like this bio presentation type of thing.
That's good. All of you should be practicing every day.
If you do, let me know. Just to me.
I'm going to close with this today, but you see lots of little slogans and sayings, and most of them are junk. For some reason, everybody today on Facebook wants to be a life coach, right? They ain't gotten their shit in order yet, but they want to post posters and tell everybody else how to live their life. And I just keep saying, oh, why don't you go fix yourself? You go fix you, I'll fix me. Quit trying to fix me until you get your stuff in order. But there is one that stuck with me, and I can't shake it, and usually those things happen because they're just so true. And this one said, success equals opportunity plus preparation. You can have the opportunity. If you aren't prepared, it won't matter. You can get prepared and not have the opportunity, and it won't matter. You need those two things to match up. Here's the thing though, when you get the opportunity, you won't have time to get prepared. You will already need to have been prepared. So I would encourage you guys to hook up with each other and practice and role play all the time. And when you get stuck on something, grab me. I'm full of more bullshit than anybody you're ever going to meet. I can usually wing my way through it. Practice all the time and practice what you're not good at. Make sense? And go read the book.